I'm Tiffany Skylark. That's my pen name that I go by. This is the first one that I published. It's the first in the Rokuyo saga. There are 3 books in total in that. It's an epic fantasy set on a different planet. Most of the main characters are elves in that one. I also made this, I call it the omnibus version. It's all 3 books in one. I kind of recommend people to get this because that way, it's a good deal. And that way you have all 3 books in one. I also have 2 novelettes, which are short novels, also fantasy. One of them's more paranormal based. A book of fantasy short stories, and then also a children's book, which I took the pictures for in a local park. When I was younger, there was this publication that they did for all of the county schools called Exposures, and you could submit, they took art, short stories, poems, pretty much anything creative that you wanted to submit, and that really got me going, so I would submit things. Some things would be rejected, some would be accepted. There was a committee sort of choosing these things, so it was sort of a big deal if you were chosen. And I was always really proud because I had something chosen each one of the years that I submitted something. Having classmates come up to you and say, I loved your poem, or I didn't really get it, like what was it about, or I loved your short story and I couldn't believe the twist at the end. It was just sort of validating, that other people enjoyed just sort of my creative work. So I think I've heard a lot of writers say this, but it's totally true, that once you develop these characters and they're well established in your mind, they sort of take on a life of their own. Like they'll talk to you, they'll do things you didn't expect, because it's kind of like when you're writing a book, at least for me, it's like you're watching a movie of what's happening, and then you're trying the best you can to describe what you're seeing. And sometimes the movie will go in unexpected places, and it's just really fun, to see that and play around with it. It would help me a lot to get my ideas by going on a walk. So there's a walking trail right by my house. I would go out, go for a walk. Sometimes I'd have an idea and I'd need like more direction or to fix a plot hole, whatever it was. And going on a walk would help kind of clear my mind. It would be sort of more active. If I needed a whole new idea for another one, I'd go on a walk. And something would always come to me. But I made the mistake of, I wouldn't bring my phone or a notebook or anything with me. And I'd get these ideas, and sometimes I'd be, far from home and be like, oh shoot, I don't want to forget this. So I'd be running, booking it back to my house, I can't forget this. That happens so many times. So, going on a walk helps. It's not on demand. If I'm not feeling it, I can't just sit down and write if I'm not feeling it, I just sort of need to be, low stress, calm as possible. I try to get it to be quiet, even when you are in the mood. So it's something for me that can't be forced, A huge percentage of people that want to write a book, it's a smaller percentage that start, an even smaller percentage that finish, even smaller that actually publish, So if you do have that idea, the best thing, you've got to get it out. Just get it down on paper. Everybody's first draft is always crap, don't worry about that. Just get your idea out. And then you've also, depending on which route you get, you can try and get an agent, a literary agent to represent you, and they do a lot of the work. If you're going the self-published route, like I have, you have to do everything yourself. You have to either edit yourself or find an editor. You've got to make or find someone to do your cover art. You've got to learn how to format. The inside, you have to learn how to upload to, Amazon or whatever. There's several different, routes you can go for publishing, self-published anyway. I use Amazon. So it can be daunting and frustrating because it's not just the writing, you figure out there's a lot more to it. You've got to market yourself. You've got to learn how to, get out there and learn social media, how to connect, how to find ideal writers. So try not to get overwhelmed, just little by little. There are a lot of tutorials and help out there to get you started and to help you figure it out. So if you can stay motivated and not get discouraged by, how much there is actually to do, and not worry if you think your market is oversaturated or there's no room for me or no one will care or my voice doesn't matter. That imposter syndrome gets to almost everybody. I think at some point, be your own biggest cheerleader too, and to not be afraid and to understand that there is a place for you and your voice and your stories are important. So, just get it out on paper, learn the ins and outs of what you need to do, and try your best not to get discouraged. Brady Hunsaker. He's got the Ring Dweller series. This is the first book called Scorned Prince. I highly suggest you follow him on Instagram. He's very funny. His reels are super hilarious, and especially if you like fantasy, that book is very good. Another person is Emily Hayes. She goes by Song of Heroes on Instagram. Also another great page, but this is by her. It's called The Last Atlantean. And this is, it's mostly set in Atlantis, also a little bit on the east coast of the U.S., back in the past 100 or 200 years ago or so. And it's one of the few books that I've read over and over. Like, I usually read a book once, and that's it. But this one, if I'm looking for something to read, I'm like, should I read this one again? Or this one, Seventh City, is also by that same author, Emily Hayes. And if you're looking for a children's book, William O'Sullivan is a really good writer. He's based in England. This is one of his children's books, Billy the Fox, which is really good. I read it to my son. You can do a chapter a night or whatever, but that book's really cute too and has a lot of good lessons in it. Yeah, I'm working on one. I've translated most of my books into Spanish. I've done 2 of the 3 books of the Roquio saga. I've translated them to Spanish myself. I still need to do the 3rd. So I'm working on that. I'm also working on another epic fantasy. It doesn't have a title yet, so I can't tell you what it's called, but it's about a woman who, she's a human but lives on another planet, and she is sent to Earth to kind of integrate with us and study us in a sense, and it happens to be very convenient because she just committed a crime and needs to get away from some people. So I'm still working on that. Not sure when it'll be out, hopefully sometime this fall.